it's time to start the one and only Ivan. Oh, I'm sorry, the one and only Bob. Okay, so you guys, to refresh our memories, as the one and only Ivan ended, I can't remember what it was called, the smallest big top animals at the mall, that Mac was the guy that was in charge of it, if you recall. They no longer live there anymore. They're no longer in captivity in the mall. Ivan and Ruby are at a zoo now, okay? And if you recall, Ivan watched the gorillas on the screen, and then they brought him out, and he's the mighty Silverback. Bob, the dog, the last we heard was he went home with George and Julia. Remember, George was the guy that would clean the cages at night, and Julia was his daughter who would draw the pictures. And that was kind of the happy ending of the story. Even though, remember, there were some sad parts, if you recall. Stella, the elephant. Do you guys remember that? And how she had passed away when she had an infection on her foot. Okay. But she made Ivan kind of promise that he would take care of Ruby, the baby elephant that came. Okay. So, here we go. It's called The One and Only Bob. And the beginning of the book is kind of interesting, okay? It has pictures and a canine glossary. I'm going to turn the screen around, and hopefully you guys can see this or not. Apparently on an iPad, I can't reverse the screen. Okay. All these new things I'm learning every day. So here's the first one, okay? So it says, let's play, life's good, get lost, I'm scared, I'm cool, I surrender, okay? And then there's this whole thing here that says canine glossary, okay? And a glossary is definitions for words. And it's 3 pages long. So I'm kind of wondering how many of these I should do or if they're going to come up in the book. So I'll do a couple of them though. One of them is called Bed Boogie. This is the circular dance performed by dogs before settling into bed. Probably a primitive nesting behavior. Co-pilot. Dog riding in car, often with head poking out of an open window. See also, drool flag. Crazy Mutt. Exuberant greeting ritual. Drool flag. Visible tongue protrusion, frequently displayed during co-piloting or meal preparation. Drool flag. So, like when a dog has its head out the window and it's got drool running down it. Frap. F-R-A-P. Frenetic random activity period. Synonym. Zoomies. I had no idea this book was going to start like this. Full wag. The happiest tail position. A relaxed circular swish. Sometimes including hip wiggles. I'm just going to keep reading these because these are kind of fun. Fur on alert. I think we can figure that one out. Raised hair on a dog's neck and back. An involuntary reaction often caused by fright or aggression. Head tilt. Quizzical look employed to charm gullible humans, meaning humans that will believe anything. Leave it. The world's worst command, especially when applied to food. Me ball. Dried excrement thrown at observers. Origin, gorilla, informal. Remember that? Poop. The poop balls. Ivan, poop balls. Play bow. Play bow. Body position with elbows down and rear up, signaling an invitation to have fun. Okay? That's kind of like here with let's play. All right, so they're bowing. Rear is up. Rhymes with pet threat. So what word rhymes with pet and rhymes with threat? Well, it is a vet. An otherwise kind human armed with thermometers and needles. I like this. This is dictionary from a dog's point of view. Tailspin. One definition. Chase involving the flexible appendage attached to the rear of most canines. So a chase involving the tail, get it? The flexible appendage attached to the rear of most canines. Definition number 2, an embarrassing or quixotic effort. So a tailspin, like when somebody does something embarrassing, okay? A toe twitcher. Dream, often squirrel focused, resulting in foot movement. Humans do this too. Sometimes like our legs twitch when we're asleep. Tug of war string. A long, though never long enough, piece of fabric or leather used to lead humans during walks. Okay, guys, what do we call that? They call it a tug of war string. We call it a leash, right? A long piece of fabric or leather used to lead humans during walks. UFO. 1. Definition number 1. Unidentified food object, often found under kitchen table or couch cushions. Number 2. Unidentified floor object, hopefully edible. Number 3. Unidentified flying object, ideally a stick, flying disc, or slobber-covered tennis ball. Yum, 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 yum. Next one. Water bowl of power. Definition number 1. Jumbo-sized ceramic dish. Number 2. Uncomfortable human chair. Generally found in bathrooms. Oh my gosh. It's called the water bowl of power, guys. He's saying like, what they're saying is that a dog, you know, we call it obviously a toilet. They call it a water bowl of power. It can just be a regular bowl of water or an uncomfortable human chair generally found in bathrooms. And the last one is zoomies. Sudden burst of energy, usually involving chaotic dashes through the house, also known as frap. Frenetic. Random activity period. Oh my goodness, that was kind of crazy. All right, here's the first part of the book. If you recall, I didn't really show you guys this in One and Only Ivan, but the way that this story works is it's going to probably do the same thing where it just has these really small chapters, with just kind of like something like this, and then the chapter. And this book will be from Bob's perspective, okay? Now, if you recall, I had a very distinct Bob voice when we were reading it, kind of like my Templeton voice. I don't know if I can do that the whole book because it kind of hurts my throat. So I might have to come up with kind of a different Bob voice as I go along. Look, nobody's ever accused me of being a good dog. I bark at empty air. I eat cat litter. I roll in garbage to enhance my aroma. I harass innocent squirrels. I hog the couch. I lick myself in the presence of company. I'm no saint, okay? Next chapter. And while I'm at it, I may or may not have eaten a pepperoni pizza with anchovies when nobody was looking. Also, I may or may not have eaten a coconut vanilla birthday cake when nobody was looking. Also, I may or may not have eaten a Thanksgiving turkey, except for the stuffing. Just way too much rosemary when nobody was looking. Oh, rosemary. That's where like the small birdhouse is, Buddy's house, Buddy's Cafe, outside of the classroom. That's surrounded by rosemary. Nobody looking. That seems to be the common thread. As they say on the crime shows, motive and opportunity. Robert. Name's Bob. I'm a mutt of uncertain heritage. Definitely some Chihuahua, with a smidgen of Papillion on my father's side. You're probably thinking I'm some wimpy lapdog, the kind you see poking out of an old lady's purse like a hairy keychain. But size ain't everything. It's swagger. Attitude. You gotta have the moves. Probably I should have been named Bruiser or Bam Bam or Bandit. But Bob's what I got, and Bob will do me just fine. Julia named me, long time ago. She's my girl. She calls me Robert when I get on her nerves. Happens pretty often, to be honest. So Bob is typically a nickname for Robert, a shortened version. For example, my dad's name is Robert, but nobody calls him that. Everyone just calls him Bob. Numero uno. There's an old saying about us dogs. Goes like this. It's no coincidence that man's best friend can't talk. Let me tell you something. If we could talk to people, they'd get an earful. You ever hear anyone mention man being dog's best friend? Nope. Didn't think so. Way I've always figured it. End of the day, you gotta be your own best friend. Look out for numero uno. Learn that one the hard way. That's not to say I don't have a best pal. I do. A gorilla. Name of Ivan. Big guy. And I go way, way back. Gorilla and dog. Yep, I know. You don't see that every day. Long story. I love that big old ape. Ditto our little friend Ruby. They're the best. How we met. First time I met Ivan, I was a homeless puppy. Desperate, starving, all alone. It was the middle of the night, and I'd slipped into the mall where Ivan lived in a cage. I wandered a bit, grateful for the warmth, confused by the weird assortment of sleeping animals I found there, checking every trash can for anything edible. There was a small hole in the corner of Ivan's enclosure. He was fast asleep, cuddled up with a worn stuffed animal that looked like a weary gorilla. Wasn't the gorilla's name not Tag? Because Tag was his sister's name. Do you guys remember that? He was snoring, and man, that guy snored like a pro. In his open palm was a chunk of banana, and I still get shivers when I think about this. I ate it right out of his hand. Guy could have squeezed his fingers shut, and I would have popped like a puppy balloon. But he just kept on sleeping. And then, more shivers. I am either a maniac or the bravest dog on the planet. Probably a little of both. I hopped onto his big, round, furry tummy of his. That's right, I climbed Mount Ivan. Crazy, I know. I have no idea what I was thinking. Maybe I was so exhausted I went a little bonkers. Maybe he just looked so warm and cozy that I figured it was worth taking a chance. I did my bed boogie. Okay, when he goes in circles. Dogs don't feel right till we do a quick dance before settling. Once I had things just so, I lay down a little puppy lump and rode the waves on that tummy like a puny boat on a great brown sea. So when Ivan breathed, it was like a boat ride for him. When Ivan opened his eyes the next morning, he didn't seem surprised in the least to find a puppy snoozing on his belly. He refused to move until I woke up. I think he was glad as I was to have found a new friend. And here is the picture. Oh, it makes me miss Ivan. The amazing history of man's best friend. Before long, me and Ivan were best buddies. We're an unlikely pair, sure. Ivan's calm and serene, a philosopher, an artist. I wish I could be more like that. No one's ever accused me of being level-headed. Hot-headed, sure. Meaning I got a temper, not calm, okay? And I can't talk pretty like Ivan can. I'm a street dog after all, I'm proud of it. Still, reclicked in a way I never had with humans. Man's best friend? No way. Gorilla's best friend? You bet. Seems to me the first time I ever heard that phrase, man's best friend, was while I was watching TV with Ivan. Back in the day, Ivan had this little television. We watched a lot of stuff together. Old movies, westerns, cartoons, you name it. Poor guy was stuck in a cage. Didn't have a lot else to do except throw meatballs at gaping humans. Anyway, me and Ivan, big fans of the tube. Cat food commercials, pro bowling, Dancing with the Stars. What's not to like? Once, rewatched this special on the Nature Channel. It was called The Amazing History of Man's Best Friend. The show was all about famous dogs. There were rescue dogs and therapy dogs, war dogs, fire dogs, movie dogs, this dogs, that dogs. And between you and me, most of them were just plain overachievers. Then they got to this dog named Hatch something or other, Hatchet Toe maybe? Seems his owner died. For the record, I object to the word owner, but we'll set that aside for now. And Hatch something or other sat around for over 9 years in the same spot at the same train station, day after day, waiting for him to return. Thing is, the narrator guy was blabbing on about this dog, really over-the-top stuff. How loyal, how loving, break out the Kleenex, blah, 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 whoa, 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 man's best friend. They made a statue of this dog. I kid you not. A statue of the dog who sat around 9 years waiting for a dead guy. In my opinion, that dog was a ninny, a numbskull, a nincompoop. I'm going to stop there.